This video is going to be looking at the strategy of laying the halftime correct score. We're going to go over what the strategy is, how to do it, give you some real life examples, some mistakes to avoid, and how to potentially win with it in the long term. So go grab a nice cold beer and let's get into it. So before we get into it, this channel is Sports Betting Life, and we started this channel so we can break down sports betting systems and strategies and actually see what works in the long term. So if you enjoy this type of content, you're definitely in the right place. I strongly suggest that you click the like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notifications on so you never miss the future videos. We've also got a Telegram channel exclusive to this particular channel, which shares extra betting insights and updates. Click the link in the description of this video and you can join us over there also. But anyway, let's look at this lay in the halftime correct score. So obviously this is a strategy which has floated around in the football trading circles for, well, decades now. However, it's not really a football trading strategy. It literally is a football betting strategy, okay? The system is you're going to lay the current correct score during the halftime break. So if it's 0-0 or it's 1-0, etc., you lay it one goal. That means that score cannot happen. So one goal and you win. Not to be confused with laying the halftime 0-0. Okay, you're looking to lay the current correct score at halftime. So as said, it's floated around in football trading circles for decades because of the laying aspect of it. And look, there's two main ways to do this. You can lay to stake, which means you're going to go in and you're going to lay using, say, £100, and you're obviously going to accept the risk of the lay bet when you do that, but your aim is to win the £100. Or you could lay to liability, where your risk is the £100, but then your profit is variable and you'll be making a % return on that particular liability. Anyway, let me show you some real life examples of this, just so we're all on the right page before we proceed any further. So let's give you an example of laying the halftime score. Everton 1, Sunderland 0. So we go to the correct score market and we're going to go to that same 1-0 and might have to just move this up to 4.8. Well, let's put it in 4.7 and then we'll have to move the rest. So anyway, we want to lay the 1-0 score and it's priced at 4.7. So we put it in. And then we will move the rest to get that in at 4.8. Or actually, is it? Oh, it's okay. It's all taken at 4.7. So that's great. So we're laying the halftime score. Everton 1, Sunderland 0. Any goal in the second half. And it puts us on all of these scores. And it's an instant win. So you basically need one goal to win. That's the idea with laying the halftime score. So anyway, that's in the market. We're just looking for a goal from anyone in the second half. And we'll get a win. And we'll land that £100 profit. So Everton 1, Sunderland 0. Let's see what happens. So here we are, 62 minutes, and Sunderland have been the team that's just scored and equalised here. A little bit of a goal against the run of play, but of course with this sort of system, doesn't matter who scores. Okay, we're now, we've laid the 1-0. The 1-0 cannot happen. So that £100 of profit is now locked in for us across all of these outcomes. And that is that, okay? It is as simple as that. This was obviously an example of laying to win a stake. So obviously some people will argue and say, well, yeah, you've won £100, but you still risked 370 to get there. They might not like that, but of course, does it matter if it's profitable in the long term? But anyway, we're going to show you an example of laying to liability, which can keep the risks a little bit more under control. Let's check that out now. But for this one, we're out with the profit. Everton 1, Sunderland 1, one goal, and we're done. So we're going to show you lay in the halftime score, but we're going to lay to liability, which keeps your risk a little bit more under control. Okay, so let me show you. We're going to have to go in at 5.7 for this. You'd click on liability, and so we're going to risk only £100 on this one. So let me show you how this is going to look. So instead of laying £100 at 5.7, £470 of risk, in this case, we're going to lay pretty much, well, close to £100 of risk, and then we're going to land £21 of profit if we get that goal, okay, in the second half. So there's obviously two ways of doing it. Like I said, you could do it like this: put it in as the lay stake, and then you're going to win £100, but you're going to risk 460. or you could do it with the liability, which means that every time you're going to risk £100 and then you're going to maybe make the 21, or it's going to depend on the prices. So anyway, this can keep the risk more under control. Let's see if we get that second half goal. We're laying the halftime score. Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 1. 54 minutes on the clock. Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 2. So we've got the goal we were looking for. A bit of a surprise goal with Crystal Palace scoring it. But of course, with this sort of system, it doesn't matter who scores. It's just one goal and then you've won. But as said, with this approach with laying to liability, at least you know every time there is a fixed risk and it is your profit that is variable, rather than the opposite approach of your risk being variable and your profit being fixed. And of course, that risk being much higher. So anyway, after that, nothing more to do, but we have we laid that 1-1 score, and then there's nothing left to do after that. And do not press that cash out. That is an absolute trick. The cash out offering you £12 when we've already got £21 locked in. Okay, so anyway, Brentford 1, Crystal Palace 2. Quick example, laying the halftime score. So pretty simple stuff. However, as said, this is a system which has floated around in the football trading circles for obviously decades now. However, the true system and what you're really doing with this is you are just backing over 0.5 goals or over 1.5 goals or 2.5 goals at the half-time break, depending on what the score is. And then obviously one goal and you win. So if the score is 0-0, you are just backing over 0.5 goals at the half-time break. People seem to sometimes assume that the laying aspect adds some sort of mystical extra bit of value to it, but it doesn't. Okay, you don't need the Betfair exchange to do this. You are simply looking to get involved at half time and you are just backing over 0.5 or 1.5 or 2.5, just basically whatever market gives you one goal, and then you win. Okay, so it is, and let's not kid ourselves, it's a bet on a goal being scored in the second half. Okay, so the name of the system of laying the halftime correct score, etc., it can throw people off and it can make some newbies assume that we're doing something advanced here and there's some sort of hidden value in the markets. But nope, it is just basically betting on a goal being scored in the second half. It's boring, but it is potentially profitable, as we will get into in just a moment. But I did just want to make that clear for anyone, okay? Now look, with this type of system, people do like it due to the simplicity and the high strike rate. You've seen how simple it is. You just got to try and predict a goal being scored in the second half. And a lot of football matches have goals in the second half. So you're going to have a high strike rate, one goal, you win, very simple, okay? Now, many dislike it due to the unfavorable risk-reward ratio and the frustrating losses that can happen with it. And you know, there is the psychological issue with this because the system, it does rely heavily on maintaining a high strike rate. So you can feel that pressure when a loser lands, especially, okay? And one single loss of, whether it's £100 or the £360, it can wipe out several previous wins. And there are many, and many probably watching this video right now, that do not like that dynamic, despite the long winning streaks that this type of system can give you. Okay, so it is one of those situations where you kind of have to pick your poison. All right, do you want the high the high strike rate? If you do want that, then you have to accept that yeah, one loss is going to wipe out several previous wins, and it can be a little bit frustrating. But anyway, the big question is, if it's profitable in the long term, does it really matter? Anyway, only you can answer that. But here's another thing with this system, and the newbie mistake is actually in the name of the system, okay? You're laying the halftime correct score. The newbie mistake is using the correct score market for this, okay? You shouldn't be laying the halftime correct score. There is more liquidity and accurate prices on the over or under markets. It's the same outcome, as I said. Okay, if you're laying the 0-0 halftime score, you are laying under 0.5 goals. Okay, if you're laying a 1-0, you're laying under 1.5 goals. Same outcome, exact same outcome. However, you can get slightly different prices. Let me just show you one quick example that I just grabbed as soon as I was doing this video which kind of underlines it, and you'll find this and see this quite a lot. This was Wolves 1, Fulham 1 at half-time. So you go in, you lay the correct score, which was available at 5.4. Liquidity was 32k on that market, but same thing, same outcome on the over and under 2.5 goals. It's 5.3 and a 78k matched on it. So if you want to scale and use bigger stakes, you should be looking to use this market. Okay, 5.4 to lay on the correct score market, 5.3 to lay on the over and under 2.5 goals market. Same outcome, same outcome. Do not use the correct score market for this, and it's a big newbie mistake. So anyway, look, with this system, it's pretty simple, and it does sound like the type of system that should be easy to win with in the long term, right? But anyway, how can you make it work? Look, you've got to use some proven filters. You've got to run some data to try and find these filters. You've got to do a lot of testing, and I'm sure many of you have been there. Now, stuff you've got to look for: high shots or high shots on target at half time. This can obviously give you a good indication of the way the match is developing. There's a general rule of thumb of looking for at least 4 shots on target by half time. This indicates a very lively match. You obviously want to be looking for lively matches for that 1 goal in the second half, and it is just 1 goal. Okay, you also, these days, you want to target a high XG. Now obviously that statement is a little bit vague. Just how high does the XG have to be? Well, that said, that's what you've got to dig into, and you've got to be researching and running some filters and some data to try and find that XG number to look for. You also want to find a minimum or maximum price, depending which way you're approaching this. Okay, so for some people, they don't like to do lay prices above 7 at halftime, above 8, above 6. Okay, everyone's different. Some might put orders into the market of odds at, say, 4 or something like that. Everyone's different, but you have to decide on that with your minimum or maximum price that you're willing to get involved in when you're laying the halftime correct score. But also some approved leagues. A lot of people do look at certain leagues they like to get involved in, and sometimes people can make mistakes with that by going only for high scoring leagues, which means that if you're going to go for only the high scoring leagues, well, it's going to be harder to find value. It's going to be harder to find good prices at half time. So you've got to keep that in mind. Actually, sometimes it's the lower scoring leagues which can provide the best value opportunities. But anyway, that's something to look for also. And that's pretty much it. But in the next video, we're going to look at some of these filters, and we're going to use at least one filter and run an actual test and an actual experiment on laying the halftime correct score and try and see just how we can make this profitable in the long term. So anyway, check out that video, and we're going to dive even deeper into the subject. I'll see you in that next video.